How's it going, everyone? I'm Town Cape, and today I'm here to bring you my first impressions on the story of Valiant Hearts: The Great War. This review will contain story spoilers, so you may not want to watch it until after you finish the game. In this review, I'll be focusing on the two primary themes of the game. War rips families apart, and war cannot be trusted. The notion of war as an entity that rips families apart is seen from the start of the game. The war causes both Karl and Emile to be sent away from their families. The two of them fight in the war in the hopes that once it's over, they can return to their families. But it's not only them who are trying to deal with the issue of war tearing families apart. Anna also loses her father to Baron Von Dorf, and her story arc primarily centers on her attempt to get him back. Similarly, Freddie's wife lost her life to the war, and Freddie's quest is to avenge her. Now let's take a closer look at each character's story. Karl initially starts off as a reluctant German soldier who yearns to return to his family as soon as he's done with the war. He initially fights alongside the Germans, but he's always careful to not let the war consume his heart. That's why he helps Emile despite him being from the enemy forces. However, after being confined to the POW camp, he loses all faith in the war and makes an attempt to escape. He almost loses his life in the process, but ultimately, he succeeds and is reunited with his family. Anna is somewhat like Karl, as she doesn't let the war consume her either. She doesn't ever resort to fighting and prefers to be a healer. She also holds no grudge against the enemy forces, as seen by how she gently treats Karl when she first meets him. Eventually, she's reunited with her father, so she gets a happy ending as well. Unfortunately, Emile doesn't get a happy ending. Why? If Karl and Anna got one, then why didn't he? The answer lies in the themes of the game. Emile chose to keep trusting the war. Unlike Karl, he never lost faith in the war. He actually believed that one day the war was going to allow him to return to his family. But that's not how war works. War cannot be trusted, even if it looks trustworthy. War is always trying to trick you. We see the war play a number of tricks on Emile. After Emile is torn from his family, he's really lonely, but eventually he meets his son-in-law Karl and his soon-to-be best friend Freddie on the front lines. However, he barely gets to spend any time with them before the war sends them their separate ways. Later, after Emile is pardoned in his first court case, he's set free. Free to return to the war, that is. See where I'm getting at? War only makes false promises. It makes it sound look like it's Emile's friends, but it's actually just deceiving him. Campaign after campaign, Emile's efforts are recognized, and he's placed closer to the center of war and further away from his family. Basically, the war is trying to turn him into Baron Von Dorf. Eventually, Emile has enough and tries to fight back, but by then, it's too late. He let the war consume his heart, and that caused him to commit some heinous actions. The only way out for him now was through death. In the end, Emile states that war makes men mad, and by that, I think he's admitting that he really is insane. In fact, this entire final scene can be interpreted as a sign of Emile's madness. Emile claims his sacrifice was not in vain, but I don't think we're supposed to agree with him on that. The entire game is trying to say that war can't be trusted, so any achievements on the battlefield shouldn't be worthwhile. All this talk about him making sacrifices is just a sign of Emile's insanity. I even believe he's hallucinating seeing Anna, Karl, and Mari as he walks to his death. When Emile dies, he's not just a madman. He's not just a father who never got to see his daughter again. He's not just a father who never got to see his grandson again. But he's also a father who never found out that Karl, his son-in-law, was still alive and had just faked his death. That's a terrible way to die. But Emile trusted the war, and he got punished for it. But the sad thing is that the war didn't just ruin Emile, it also ruined his best friend Freddie. Remember, Emile said that Freddie was like a brother. They were so close to each other that they considered each other to be family members. It was never stated that Anna, or Karl, or anyone else was as close to Freddie as Emile was. However, Freddie never got to spend much time with Emile and eventually lost him to the war. He first lost his wife to the war, and then he lost the man who was like a brother to him. Why? Because he trusted the war. He trusted the war to find salvation for him, but it didn't. Remember guys, these are my first impressions and are liable to change in the future. Anyway, that'll be at the end of this review everyone. Thank you for watching. Next narrative Nimble will be on the final episode of The Walking Dead Season 2. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.